one of the things that I like doing is coming up with inventive new ways to help people who are homeless. And so this video is on homeless fine artists and how you might want to go about busking or selling your art while you can't afford the normal materials or mediums that people use in art, seeing as they can be very expensive. And these can also be used as techniques for people who are not homeless or not necessarily fine artists, but just want to sell a product to a customer base or a select audience. This is one of the big things about aesthetics, is that when you sell art to somebody, you run into the problem of who is your audience. And so one of the ways that you can target audiences is by going on Reddit and looking at the different subreddits, such that you can give those individuals notice of the type of art that you do, which may pertain to them in that niche market of users on the Redditors on the subreddit. Now, when you are making art for people, a lot of people like to see you make it on the spot when you're doing busking. One of the things that's interesting about that is that tends to focus on figure drawing, characterization, things like portraiture. And you want to be able to learn how to draw faces and figures if you're going to busk. And I would suggest that if you know anybody who's doing it already, or if someone doesn't mind, you might be able to get a tutor who could help you, or a social worker who might know how to do portraits or fine art. Now, one of the things you have to keep in mind, though, when you do nude art, is that nude art, like drawing someone naked, even if when they have clothes on, you have to have licensure to do that, and you have to only do that with people who are over the age of 18 or 21. I'm not sure which, but it depends on your area's laws. But that's also a big seller because people find that funny. Now, besides also performance art, which you can look up Salvador Dali on that and learn more about abstract performance art in fine art. One of the things that you have to pay attention to, like I said, is cost and resources that are required, and that's minimalism. Minimal materials, minimal cost, higher efficiency in what you're making. And another thing is to make it utilitarian, such that it has a use for someone focusing on pop culture, and things like local sports teams might be an instance where utilitarianism has a different kind of setup or meaning, or may not be important so much at all. And so one of the areas that kind of dove me into this idea was I saw a sandal that someone had made in I believe it was Vietnam, when they were in the Vietnamese War, and prisoner of war prisoners were oftentimes in very difficult situations, and one of the ways they kept their mind busy was by making art and making things that had a utilitarian and minimalist purpose in order to get out of the situation and escape, or simply to pass time. Now, they also have examples of such art in places like Holocaust museums and things like that might give you an idea as to minimalistic art that you can do that is utilitarian. Now, when we think of utilitarian art, we think more so of things that we use every day, such as a chair or furniture or some silverware or something along those lines. Now, if you're homeless, one of the things you're going to have to worry about is obtaining mediums and tools that don't cost a lot of money or don't cost any money at all, and that you can do your work fast and sell it there on the street. So, what art should you do beyond portraiture and figure drawing? The answer is that let's say that you live in an area like near a beach. One of the things that might help you if you're homeless and you live on a beach is making sand sculptures. Now, if you make sand sculptures, one of the interesting things that you can do is you can ask someone to take a photo of it, or you yourself, if you have a cell phone, can take a photo of whatever you're making and sell those photos of the sand sculptures. And you can also ask for money in certain situations, depending upon whether you're in an incorporated area or not, or you have licensure. Now, another example is snow or ice sculptures. If you live in a colder environment and you're dealing with the same issue, you would take photos of the art and sell the prints and ask for donations if it's legal within your area. Now, another area of sculpture, because those are additive sculptures, you add things to the sculpture. Now, you could make fruit carvings or vegetable carvings, or more something that would last longer would be a soap carving. You can also do whittling, and these usually take a lot of skill, but they require reusable knives, and you only really ever need one knife or only a few tools. But you want to make sure you have some way to travel with that it's safe. And you want to maintain that what you're doing is within the laws as far as like how large the knife is or what you're using to whittle or carve. And fruit carvings and vegetable carvings have festivals. Like, for instance, I believe there's a radish carving festival. I don't know if they have that in Collinsville, but I know that horseradish is different than radishes, but it's same idea. So, you might ask, what mediums do I have access to? And so, you might want to go into dumpster diving or ask people before they throw things in a dumpster due to sanitary reasons, can I have the materials that you're going to throw away? Because I'd like to use those materials in order to busk or sell or turn into art, whatever there is. And you can ask local businesses if they have anything they'd like to have drawn or painted or whatever it might be. You know, maybe it's a mural or something. What would they allow you to do it? And so what mediums do I have access to? One of the common things you find in dumpsters that a lot of people don't recycle, even though you're supposed to, but that you could use to make nets or geometric nets and create three-dimensional sculptures out of that. Usually you would use construction paper for this technique, but the whole idea is that you could build a sculpture out of pieces of cardboard that you fit together into some dynamic in order to make a three-dimensional sculpture. So you could also use old furniture, wood, and cloth. And so those are things that you could use in order to make sculpture. Another thing is metal that you might otherwise recycle, small pieces. You could necessarily bend those pieces of metal depending upon how small they are. A lot of people like to make things out of chains, so wire is good for that. But you can also sell metal at like a scrapyard or something. But another interesting way is if you have a lighter, like a cigarette lighter or a Zippo, is you can melt heated plastic into a sculpture. And you can make those sculptures small or large or whatever, or collect things. Found object art is amazing, but overall, knives, like I said, X-Acto knives, carving knives, they are reusable, and you always want to be able to sharpen knives if you have them. So these are just some of the ideas that I have had as far as ways that you can make art. Now, if you have a phone, another thing you can do is you can get into programming, and you can make digital art and sell the digital art. I don't know if they still sell them as EFTs or not, but that's not always the best solution. But you can also go to your local library. They might have a 3D printer where you could design schematics. You need a flash drive to hold on to those schematics, but that's another idea. And one of the other things that kind of interests me, as far as like if you just have some paper or a sketchbook, or even a piece of cardboard, is getting a drawing done, because all you need then is pens, and you can reuse a lot of pens and stuff. But business supplies tend to be cheaper than art supplies, but do the exact same thing. You want to make sure that you use acid-free paper and ink pens where the ink does not fade, given exposure to things like light and weathering. And so that's kind of the idea of what I would look at if I was on the street and I was trying to busk as a fine artist who is homeless. And so if you do any type of social work or help for people who are homeless, these are some ideas. But they are usable skills. Once you get good at them, they can help you. Yeah.